Hey everyone. So I just wanted to pop on today and talk about something that I've really been struggling with lately. I feel like the joy has kind of gone out of my academic work. I'm finding it really hard to be motivated to do my homework. If you're new here, I'm doing a master's degree in history at the University of Edinburgh online part-time. And yeah, the workload really isn't too strenuous considering it's part-time. And I've been able to balance my own homework with my teaching, my hobbies, my relationships. So it's not like I'm overly stressed out about it. And still, I don't really look forward to doing my work. While I'm doing it, I'm just looking forward to being done doing it so that I can go read a book that I actually enjoy or go do some creative writing. And I don't know why this is. I've always loved school. I've always loved academics. I've always loved the process of doing research, crafting academic arguments, writing a history thesis, an essay upon essay. I've always loved that, and it's just starting to feel like I'm losing that love or that joy and that kind of ambition for success in this type of work, and I don't know why that is. Like, it's just not sparking joy anymore. Reading an academic article or sifting through an academic book and taking notes, it just isn't sparking joy at the moment. And yeah, I don't like that. I want it to spark joy. I wish I could go back to having kind of that deep ambition and motivation to do this type of work. I wonder maybe if it has to do with the specific courses that I'm working on right now, which don't particularly interest me. They're not my kind of research areas of interest. They're not at all related to what I want to write my thesis on next year. So maybe that's why. It's just content wise, it's not captivating me. But I also just think I'm starting to realize that I much prefer creative literature. I prefer to read fiction and poetry. I prefer to write fiction and poetry. There have been many times in the past few years where I've wondered, did I do the right thing majoring in history and not in literature or creative writing? Like, did I do the right thing? And yeah, I don't like having those kinds of questions because I like to feel confident in my decisions in life and what I've done. And honestly, no regrets. Like, I'm so glad that I have the historical knowledge and skills that I do. I've always thought history was kind of my first love, but I am starting to wonder if it was maybe my second love, or at least now maybe it's my second love and literature is my first love. But the good news is that they're so interconnected and related. If you're reading a piece of classic literature, the historical context matters and you have to know the historical context. And as you're studying history, you can study the history of literature and of books and of writers and their impact on society. And so probably when I actually do write my history thesis, I will connect it to literature somehow as much as I can. Like, I'll probably study a literary movement or an author or a set of authors in a specific context, in a specific country and time period, something like that. Probably like Dutch female writers in early modern Netherlands, along those lines. And I think then I will be intuitively interested and excited about doing that research and writing that paper. Right now, I'm just not there. I honestly feel like I'm learning more about history being a history teacher and a literature teacher, because the amount of prep work and kind of background context building that I do for what I teach my students is constantly challenging me intellectually and academically. I mean, my grade 9 and 10 students are learning history and reading literature that I never tackled until university. So they are being challenged to reach a standard much higher than their grade level, if that makes sense. And so that means it's really intellectually stimulating and satisfying for me, where it's not easy and I am challenged in my day-to-day work and in my teaching, but in a way that's so much more enjoyable than, I don't know, like the nitty-gritty academic type reading and writing, which can be really dry and creatively, just not creatively compelling. Like, yeah, it can honestly sometimes make you feel kind of dead inside. I feel like I'm starting to ramble here. I also think my ambitions have changed, or at least clarified. While I was doing my BA in history, because I was loving it so much, I saw myself doing a master's degree and even maybe a PhD one day, and that was kind of the goal that I had in mind and the standard that I held myself up to, really wanting to be and striving to be a real historian. And now I feel like that has changed a little bit, where I don't necessarily see myself doing a PhD and becoming a professor anymore. I love, love, love teaching in a classical upper school, and I find that challenging and stimulating enough, at least at the moment, and that might change. I also, if I really assess who I want to be and what I want to do with my life, I still think my number one goal and ambition is to be a writer, like a writer of fiction. And that's always been the case since I was a little girl. I wanted to be a published author and a writer and do that full time. And that's not something that I've been able to achieve yet. I can't be a full-time writer. I mean, I've written a novel and a novella and short stories and children's stories, and I'm working on other novels, but so far I haven't had any real success in publishing. I haven't had the time to find myself a literary agent and adjust my work, and, I haven't been able to put my energies fully into that. And so that's kind of been something kind of on the sideline as I have been focusing more on like my academic historical career. But I think deep down what I really want is just to write freely with no constraint, to write stories, to write novels, to, explore human nature and the human experience through that kind of writing rather than kind of the stiff, dry academic writing that I'm really starting to get tired of because it's just lifeless. And it's not satisfying me personally or spiritually or creatively. And those parts of myself really matter. Yes, I can be an intellectual and an academic, but I'm also a creative and I'm also just a person who wants to feel joy and satisfaction in life. So I'm just feeling pretty conflicted about this right now. And ironically, I just got an email from the professor that I've been working part-time with for several years now as a research assistant. And I helped him do a lot of research for a book that he was writing broadly on the history of secularization and secularization theories and all that. And I just got an email from him that his book is being published by a major UK publisher. And after several years of really grinding on that, I'm so happy for him. And it's also just satisfying for me because I did do a lot of work for that. And I almost cheered out loud when I saw that email and that thrill of wow, publishing an academic work that so much went into, but that's so well researched and well written and hopefully going to impact people and impact the field. It got me super duper excited. And I'm like, maybe do I want to do that someday? But at the same time, when I see how much of his life it took up to produce that book, I don't know if I want that because I feel like I need balance in my life. And when I'm not also doing creative things, especially creative writing and also video making, I start to just feel really off. I'm not myself and I start to feel just kind of dead inside. I need balance in my life, and that's why I'm so happy with where I am now, where I teach history and literature in the mornings, come home and do a number of hours of academic work, my homework, my history homework essentially, and then I also make videos in between. I do all sorts of reading for pleasure and intellectual growth. That's not assigned readings. I try to spend a lot of time with my husband and my friends and my family, and I've just got my fingers in a lot of pots and I have a lot of things on the go and a lot of goals, and I love that balance. That balance has got me in a really good place mentally and spiritually, intellectually. I feel satisfied. But then the idea of doing that academic work, which now I only do for about 3 hours a day, all day, every day, without time for those other things, and having to make those other things sit on the back burner, I don't know if that's for me. Right now, I don't want that to be my life, and I can't see that being my life. How am I going to write my novels if that's what I'm doing? How am I going to build relationships with my credible high school students if that's what I decide to do? Again, this has all been a ramble, and I really, really do appreciate academia and admire academics and the work that they do. And a huge part of me still is just so drawn to that world. I feel like I am a part of it. I feel like I've seen enough of it in my work as a research assistant, faculty assistant, master's student to have a good appreciation and understanding of that world, and to feel like I could fit in there and find my place there if I wanted to. And yet, I think I'm starting to realize that I don't necessarily want to, and that there are other paths that I could take where I would be more fulfilled, again, emotionally and spiritually. And that's just as important as being fulfilled intellectually. And I don't want to pursue a PhD just for the sake of having a PhD and being able to kind of flaunt that and just find satisfaction in being called doctor, feeling like I'm smarter than most of the people in my life who don't have degrees like that. I don't need that. I don't need to feel like that. I don't need that edge, and I don't think that's right to pursue something for that sake. So if my heart isn't fully in it, in the academic writing and production of articles and books, then I don't need to go there. Let me know if you have any thoughts on this, if you have experience in academia, if you've ever felt the same way that I am right now, where it's just not enough and it's not sparking joy. Or let me know if you've had a really great time in academia and you feel like you are made for this and this is what you want to do with your life and you're feeling satisfied and fulfilled. I'd love to hear about that too, because I know in this world of academia there's people who are there who maybe don't want to be, and there's people who are there who really do want to be. Both categories belong in the sense of intellectually and based on the work that they've put in, they deserve to be there. That's just not enough for me. I don't want to be one of those people who is kind of unhappy being there, but is there nonetheless because they felt like that's what they needed to do, or because kind of the accolades and the respect and the cred that you get for being there means so much. Yeah, again, that's my little ramble. I have finished my homework for today, so I'm looking forward to doing some reading and writing, creative writing, not academic writing, now for the rest of the night. And then we're gonna go hang out with our small group from church, just a group of people talking about Jesus and our lives as Christians. I'm looking forward to my evening. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't judge me or hate me if you think I'm wrong or I'm stupid for saying these things. Yeah, I'm just being vulnerable and opening up about this. Anyways, thank you again for your support and for being here. Please do like and comment, and I will see you again very soon.